Are you serious? Are you serious? Crude oil in the Yellowstone River up there in Billings, Montana, and nobody's even, you can't find it on NBC. You can't find it on CNN. It's a little ticker tape on Fox. People, nobody even knows except for the internet, for you who are focused, you YouTubers and those around the world. Look at this. Here's Billings, Montana, right up here. The people, and there's right the Yellowstone River. How come this oil pipeline broke under Billings, Montana, under the Yellowstone River? Crude oil is floating into the river and headed toward the Missouri River, which is flooded, which will eventually work its way down to these flooded areas where these nuclear power plants are in Nebraska. What? Do we really need that going on? Now look, let me just explain something to you. Let me read to you quickly an article here that kind of gives us a little bit of an update, because you're not going to find this on is that super volcano under Yellowstone National Park, is it beginning to rumble? And is that starting to cause the crumble of our very pipeline infrastructures? And what about Mount Rainier way up here? Mount Rainier way up here. 3 avalanches in a week. I know that's a volcano, separate from the super volcano that's under Yellowstone National Park, but still, is there a shaking and a shifting? Is there a crickling and a quaking? What's going on? Does anybody know? Are you serious? There was guys driving down the road there in Billings, Montana, and he said they weren't even reporting on the news that it was going on, yet guess what? He said, it's unreal. He said, but he could smell the crude oil. Let me read to you this right here. I don't get it, why we're not getting reports. What are they afraid of? Why aren't they letting us know? The initial report said an oil spill on the Yellowstone River prompted evacuations from Laurel to Lockwood early Saturday morning. Local officials had few details as of 2 a.m. as they continued to investigate what spilled and how. But people in the area said the stench of oil was strong and the water was black and oily. It's not hard to understand that you've got an oil leak somewhere. You've got a pipeline that's ruptured. You've got something going on. How can the officials take 24 hours? Can't you smell the oil? Listen, here's what you got to be worried about. Is this super volcano? I keep bringing it up, as nobody wants to talk about it on the mass media. Where's FEMA? But is the super volcano under Yellowstone National Park, is this thing starting to rumble and crumble? And does that mean that the nation once again, folks, you guys, I'm not going to go through all the issues. I don't want to talk about all the droughts in Texas and Oklahoma, the wildfires in New Mexico. There's five right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nuclear power plants that are either flooded or under fire alerts. What? And leaking. What else is going on? We've got floodwaters down to Missouri, the Ohio, the Wabash. Up there in North Dakota, mine out in North Dakota, they're just completely wiped out. We've got floodwater through the Missouri, right down the Mississippi River through the Missouri floodlanes, destroying hundreds of thousands of acres. Louisiana, Mississippi, Memphis is drowned earlier in the year. But nobody cares, because you folks are Southern voters. Nobody cares. Are you saved? Paul, what are you getting at? I'm asking this question. Are we in a situation here on the 3rd of July? And I'm getting ready to go to church and pray for our country, but I had to report this right now because my emails were flooded. Folks were demanding, they're rattling and clamoring for answers. And my question is, the answer is still prayer. We're not going to get the whole story. We may not even understand the whole story of the magnitude of what's going on, the wrath, the fury of God. If you look at the things that's been happening to America. I was just watching a moment ago that now the Army cannot, when they pray at a military funeral in a military cemetery, they cannot say, finish the prayer with God or Jesus. They have to get this all approved. Why? What? Folks, your freedom of speech, your freedom of religion, your freedom of worship, your freedom of expression is under attack. And when you see that flag waving in the wind this 4th of July weekend, when you see an Army soldier in his fatigues, when you drive by a military cemetery and there's the white headstones, I want you to stop for a moment. A tear should come to your eye, and you should begin to embrace and thank God for the very freedom you have this Sunday morning to go and worship the Lord. Pray for the people up there in Montana, the oil spill, what's going on. Look, reports are telling us they're not sure what it is. It says local officials have few details. In Duck Creek area, the thick black oil seemed like was seen bubbling up from under the Duck Creek Bridge. Some oil was washing up on the banks of the river, but most of it appeared to be following the main flow of the river. Oil could be smelled as far away from the river as half a mile. And where are the helicopters? Where is the media? Where is the reporting? Why isn't Wolf Blitzer standing on the banks? Why isn't Anderson Cooper waiting out in his waders picking up dead ducks? What's going on? How come I don't see 60 Minutes? Why isn't Nightline there? Why aren't the girls from The View down there trying to deal with it? Nobody from the major mass media is covering this story. Only the YouTubers, the Facebook folks, the social networks, the people that are digging and rooting around are the only ones. Folks, I'm telling you, we've got to stay strong and continue our voice of freedom. I'm Paul Begley. I can't even read this article. If you want to read it, I'm too frustrated right now. If you want to read it, get all the updates on it, you can find it at the Billings Gazette online. The Billings Gazette. They finally covered the story. And they're, because nobody cares. So I want you to go there right now and check that out. The Billings Gazette. It's about the Exxon Mobil oil pipeline rupture floating down the river. And nobody wants to talk about it. Maybe they'll talk about it when that black crude oil makes its way all the way down here to Fort Calhoun and that Nebraska nuclear power plant that's 3/4 underwater. Oh, that's right. There's a blackout there. There's no fly zone. We may have to get an embedded scuba diver to follow the river to find out just really what's going on. I'm Paul Begley. I hope you have a great Sunday. I'll be back later tonight getting you really up to speed on everything going on. I will be doing that later tonight. God bless you. And